In today's video, we will be comparing two up-and-coming generational talents for the NHL. They are Matthew Savoie and Connor Bedard. But before we do get into comparing them, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you guys are new around here. It does help me out tremendously to make videos for you guys. We're almost at 2,000 subscribers already, so please make sure you hit that subscribe button for more content like this. Anyways, with that being said, let's get into the video. Now, if you are actually unaware who Connor Bedard and Matthew Savoie are, let me explain. Connor Bedard is an 05 coming out of the CSSHL in Vancouver, BC, playing for West Van Academy this year, where he's put up absolutely insane numbers. He's also the consensus first overall pick in the 2023 NHL Draft, and he was drafted first overall by the Regina Pats of the WHL for the 2020 Bantam Prep Draft in the WHL. Now, on the contrary, Matthew Savoie is also a Western Canada native coming out of Alberta. He's been playing for Rink Hockey Academy in the CSSHL, where he's also put up over point per game numbers there. He is the consensus first overall pick in the 2022 NHL Draft, and he was the first overall pick in the WHL Draft in 2019, drafted by the Kootenay Ice, where he's been playing there this past season. So wow, as we can see, both of these players have put up really high standards, and we are comparing two top-tier NHL prospects. But the real question is, who is better right now, and who will have the better NHL career for the years to come? Now, when you first look at comparing these two players, there may be an obvious victor. Matthew Savoie is older, meaning he may have the upper hand due to experience over Connor Bedard. But this isn't always the case. Despite being born in 05 and being a year younger, Connor Bedard has actually been playing up a year in the CSSHL for West Van, where he's actually put up better numbers than Matthew Savoie did for Rink, which is absolutely insane and definitely something that you have to take into consideration when you compare these two players head to head. But regardless of this evidence, you can't just say a player is better because he has more points. You have to look at the other things, such as his teammates, his team, his height, the style of game that he plays, where he's most effective in the game, when he's most effective, stuff like that. So that's what we're going to be doing right now. Let's get a bit more technical. And building on this point that you can't necessarily say a player is better than another player just because of the points that he generates, Matthew Savoie has been playing on a much less skilled team than Connor Bedard has. Playing out of West Van, Connor Bedard and his team have been at the top of the table for, I'd say, the past couple or so years. Where on the contrary, last year, Matthew Savoie's team has not been doing that well. Rink has been, I guess you could say, trending less to the top of the tier and more to the bottom. So you definitely have to take that into consideration when comparing the two players, that it may not be fair, as although Matthew Savoie has generated less points than Connor Bedard, you have to take into consideration the players that he's playing with and the team that he's on. And one last vital thing that I wanted to emphasize was the players that you're surrounding yourself around. And this kind of builds off the teams that you're playing with, because obviously if your team is doing well, that means you must have pretty good surrounding players around you. And that's a very prime example of how Connor Bedard was able to generate much more points than Matthew Savoie was, as Connor Bedard, surrounded by many more skilled and more talented players than Matthew Savoie was, he was able to get many more secondary assists, get set up much more for goals than Matthew Savoie was, who had to kind of fight for his own and kind of do it all himself much more. And I can give an example of this. So, Matthew Savoie, if he was to set up someone on a 2-on-1 and they missed because they weren't as skilled as a player on West Van who would have easily put it away, that's a point gone there. And, that's probably happened before. And I'm not saying that, Connor Bedard was lifted by his players, because I'm sure he's still an amazing player who will turn out to be a very good top-tier NHL player, because he is a year younger and he's playing a year up, and he did get more points than Matthew Savoie. But all I'm saying is that, the team that you play with and the players that you surround yourself against can have a huge impact on the points that you generate. And I can have countless examples of this. Look at Dylan Larkin on the Red Wings. He's not generating that many points, but if he was on a good team, you could probably go point per game. And look at Matthew Savoie. Obviously, he did go over point per game because, he is a generational talent, but he could have probably over 100 points if he played on West Van, while probably Connor Bedard had, I think it was 84 points in like 50 games or something like that. And that pretty much concludes kind of what I wanted to say in this video. You know, with the lack of information that we have, it is pretty hard to kind of put a clear pinpoint, conclusion on who the better NHL player will be. And obviously it is hard to make a lengthy video with the information that we have, because I mean, this is all I can really compare them on. It's like the team that they play for, the points that they have, kind of like where they're headed, like what their draft projections are, stuff like that. And I feel like I've covered all that. And this leads me to the conclusion. So who do I think the better player is right now? And obviously it is really early because both of them are 15 and 16 years old. So it is pretty hard to put a pinpoint kind of conclusion on who the better player is. But if I had to say now, I would definitely have to go with Matthew Savoie. And I know that's going to probably shock quite a few people, but I just think that Matthew Savoie is the harder worker, the overall faster, more elusive player. And I think that with the trend that the NHL is headed into, I think that Matthew Savoie would definitely translate much better than Connor Bedard would. And obviously Connor Bedard could still probably prove me wrong. It is still so early, as I've mentioned earlier. But yeah, for now, I'm definitely have to go with Matthew Savoie as my conclusion. And I'm definitely going to be making so many more videos in the future on these guys, especially heading into their draft -1 years, because they're definitely going to be on the radar of a lot of scouts. And I'm definitely going to be wanting to cover them in a lot of variety of videos. And anyway, I think that concludes this video. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you guys are new around here. It does help me out tremendously. And yeah, I'll be sure to catch you guys all in the next video. See ya.